Okay, let's dive into this really strange mystery that's basically just appeared in Buga, Colombia. We've been digging through the news reports, some early scientific looks, trying to figure out what on earth this thing is.
Absolutely. It centers around this spherical object. People say it fell from the sky, which, got the locals talking, but now it's genuinely puzzling scientists, too.
Right. So try to picture it. March 2025, down in Buga, Colombia. Folks are seeing this weird sphere just moving through the air, but not like a plane or anything normal. Witnesses said it was like zigzagging,
Uh-huh.
really erratic, not following any kind of straight path we'd expect.
And that movement, that zigzagging, is probably the first major flag that this isn't something conventional. I mean, aircraft follow aerodynamic principles, right? Smooth arcs.
Yeah.
This suggests something else entirely. Maybe different propulsion system or,
Yeah.
well, something interacting with forces we don't usually see.
And then it gets even weirder. Apparently, this object comes down, and on March 2nd, a group of people actually find it. They recover it. And the first things they noticed were odd. They reported it weighed about 4.5 pounds, but felt like a refrigerator when they touched it, cold.
Hmm. That cold touch is fascinating,
Yeah.
especially given some of the other claims later on. But initially, yeah, it means it wasn't radiating heat on the outside when they found it.
Right. Now, here's where the story takes a bit of a turn. One of the people involved in finding it is a guy named David Velez El Potro.
Okay.
And he took this story and the sphere, Everly, to Mausan Television. Now, you might recognize the name Jaime Maussan. He's a journalist, but he's been linked to some, let's say, controversial and unproven alien stuff before, like those Peruvian mummies.
Ah, yes. That's really important context for you to have. Maussan's platform often highlights potential extraterrestrial explanations. So claims made there,
Yeah.
well, you need to view them with some skepticism until they're independently verified.
Totally agree. So, Velez El Potro, he's on there claiming the sphere is authentic, found in the woods near Buga. He also shared some pretty wild anecdotes.
Like what?
Well, one about the guy who supposedly first touched it, someone named Jose. Apparently, Jose felt sick for days afterward.
Hmm. Interesting. Physical reaction reported.
Yeah, and get this. Velez El Potro himself claims that when he poured water onto the sphere, it started to smoke and the water just instantly vaporized.
Whoa. Okay, that's dramatic.
Right. If true, that implies some serious internal heat, despite that initial report of it being cold to the touch.
It certainly implies a massive energy concentration inside,
Mm-hmm.
but like the reports say, there's no official confirmation of that happening. It's an eyewitness account shared on, well, a platform known for speculation.
And to make things even more intriguing, Velez El Potro apparently said government officials contacted him, wanted the sphere,
Uh-huh.
but he refused. Said something like it would never be seen again if he handed it over. So instead, he reportedly gave it to Masson and his team for analysis.
Okay, well, you can maybe understand someone being hesitant with something so unique, but refusing official scientific channels does make independent verification harder. Though the reports do say some scientific analysis did happen.
Yes, exactly. It seems scientists, including a radiologist, Dr. Jose Luis Velasquez, did manage to get access for X-ray analysis, and the results are pretty remarkable.
They really are. The X-rays show this unexpectedly complex internal structure. We're talking 3 distinct layers of some kind of dense material.
3 layers.
Yeah, and inside those layers, 18 smaller spheres, microspheres, arranged around a central thing they're calling a chip.
Okay, wait, and here's the bit that really got me. Dr. Velasquez specifically noted the X-rays showed no welds or joints.
That's the key observation.
Think about that. That's not how we put things together. His conclusion, based just on that, he called it artificial origin and said, obviously more tests are needed to figure out what origin.
Precisely. No bolts, no glue, no... Seems like we'd expect. That screams different manufacturing process.
It really does. Something unknown to us, or maybe operating on totally different principles, advanced materials, maybe even. Well, non-terrestrial.
It points that way, potentially.
Mm.
And the description of the sphere itself adds to it. Irregular edges, so it's solid.
Right, not hollow.
And the density varies.
Well,
Outer layer is dense, maybe like bone density apparently, central area. Less dense, maybe porous. They're guessing titanium or steel for the outer bit. But again, need more tests.
these density shifts could be part of the design, couldn't they? Like protection outside, something functional inside, energy related maybe?
It's very possible. The titanium or steel suggestion implies it's built tough, durable.
Okay, let's talk about those 18 little spheres inside. They're not just randomly floating around, right?
No, not at all. They're in a specific, non-random pattern. Scientists are wondering, could they be sensors, tiny fasteners, or maybe fragments?
And they call the whole arrangement a chip because it's so precise and symmetrical.
Exactly. That suggests deliberate engineering, maybe something quite advanced. And apparently, these little spheres go about half a centimeter into the interior, and they're intact. No signs of fracture.
Wow, so they've held up.
Seems so. Suggests the whole object has maybe withstood significant forces without breaking apart internally. Speaks to its structural integrity.
And there was even more from the X-rays, something about a central band.
Yeah, a band made of a different material, also containing more of these tiny spheres. It looks like they might have been placed inside before the whole object was sealed.
Sealed how, though? That's the mystery.
That is the mystery. Again, no visible signs of assembly, no welding, no joints. It's like this layered structure, almost like an onion, with these carefully placed spheres inside.
It's just highly unlikely to be natural, isn't it, that kind of structure?
Extremely improbable for a natural formation. So if it's not natural and it doesn't look like our tech, what is it?
And the plot thickens, because this sphere also has weird symbols on the outside.
Right? Strange markings.
And the team actually compared them to, like, all sorts of ancient writing systems. Runes, Ogham script, even old Mesopotamian stuff.
Which is fascinating. Does it mean communication? Or is it just a coincidence? Shapes that look familiar? Hard to say.
To try and figure it out, they actually used AI to help decipher these symbols.
Okay.
The message they came up with. It's pretty philosophical, something like the origin of birth through union and energy and the cycle of transformation, meeting point of unity, expansion and consciousness, individual consciousness.
Wow. Okay, that's quite a message. Whether the AI interpretation is spot on or not, just having structured symbols on something like this forces you to consider intentional communication.
Yeah.
Which, if true, has huge implications. It's a very esoteric message, isn't it?
Yeah.
About existence, consciousness.
The researchers working on it think it's maybe a call for, like, a global shift in thinking to help the Earth deal with pollution, environmental decline, that kind of thing.
That interpretation certainly fits with today's concerns, but you have to be careful, right? Projecting our own modern issues onto potentially alien symbols is
Tricky. Good point. Very good point. So, okay, let's recap the possibilities. We've got this weird flight, the cold touch, the complex insides with no seams, these symbols. What could actually explain this thing?
Well, there are a few standard possibilities you always consider with UAPs or weird finds. One is advanced human tech.
Like classified military stuff, a drone, some experiment gone wrong.
Could be. Surveillance tech, maybe?
But does that really fit? The zigzagging, the no-weld construction, the weird internal spheres? Seems like a stretch for our known tech, doesn't it?
It does present challenges for a simple terrestrial explanation, yeah. Our known tech, even the classified stuff we can guess at, usually follows certain engineering principles. This seems different.
Okay, so then there's the big one. Extraterrestrial artifacts.
That's always on the table with anomalies like this. The lack of conventional manufacturing, the strange behavior, the symbols. It ticks a lot of boxes for the ET hypothesis for many people.
Especially the symbols, right? If that's communication.
If it is, that strongly points away from human origin, absolutely.
What about something less exotic? Could it be natural, just really, really rare, like those spherules you sometimes find after meteor impacts or volcanic stuff?
It's less likely.
Yeah.
Natural spherules usually don't have this complex, layered internal structure or precisely arranged microspheres or that central chip component. Nature can be weird, but this seems engineered.
Right, engineered. And we always have to mention the maybe less exciting possibility. Is it a hoax? An elaborate art project?
You always have to consider it, especially with something so strange. But if the scientific analysis holds up the materials, the design, it makes a hoax much harder to pull off.
Yeah, you'd need some serious tech to make something like this convincingly, right?
You likely would. Advanced manufacturing capabilities. So while possible, maybe less probable if the science checks out.
So where do we go from here? If you wanted to get to the bottom of this, what's next? More tests.
Absolutely. Further testing is crucial. Things like isotope analysis.
What's that?
Looking at the different forms or isotopes of the elements in the material. It can act like a fingerprint, sometimes telling you if material formed on Earth or elsewhere.
Ah, okay, like a cosmic origin test.
Sort of, yeah. And you'd want to probe it, maybe. see if it has energy signatures, to see how it responds to electromagnetic fields or stimuli. Does it do anything?
Might tell us something about its purpose.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or at least if it's still active in some way.
It really feels like this discovery, whatever the final answer is just the tip of the iceberg for a potentially huge investigation.
It really does. I
Okay.
mean, regardless of where it came from, this object forces you to ask some really big questions
Yeah.
about technology, about communication, about what else might be out there beyond what we currently understand.
And that leads perfectly into this really provocative question that one of the sources posed, and it's worth thinking about. If an object fell from the sky with no signs of human craftsmanship, could it be a message or a warning? What responsibility do we have if we've just discovered technology far beyond our own?
And that's the core thing for you, the listener, to really ponder. What are the implications? If this is truly beyond us, what does that tell us about our place in the cosmos? Do we have a duty to understand it, protect it, maybe even listen to it?
Yeah.
It's a discovery that pushes right up against the edges of our knowledge, and maybe even our role in a much bigger cosmic neighborhood. Lots to think about.